The veteran uses his ordnance wisely, not just to neutralize, but to control space, creating temporary pockets of safety. The aircraft punches through the wall of drones, a stunning display of raw power and piloting skill. In slow motion, the cold physics of the confrontation. Each round finds its mark, turning a thinking machine into glittering debris. Some units are fooled, chasing the heat signatures to their fiery end. A small, temporary victory. Instead of evading, he charges directly into them, cannon blazing, turning the engagement into a high-speed game of chicken. A domain of rock and sky. Here, the only sound is the wind and the steady rhythm of powerful machines. Two lone wolves, masters of their craft, painting lines across the empty canvas of the desert. The confidence of youth. Every control is an extension of the pilot, every maneuver effortless and precise. The veteran's caution. He knows these silent canyons can hold secrets, and that beauty often masks danger. A clean screen, a silent sky, the very definition of a false peace, a quiet that feels too perfect. The first whisper of a threat, a single fleeting ghost on the edge of perception, too small to be a concern, or so it seems. The eye of the machine zooms in, trying to make sense of the anomaly, a lone wanderer far from its intended path. The instinct of the hunter kicks in. An easy target, a simple test of skill in a sky with no other players. But the veteran's instinct says otherwise. Don't engage, observe, understand the opponent's game before you make a move. The chase begins. Two predators following a single, seemingly insignificant target deeper into the labyrinth of stone. The bait accelerates. It knows the path. It is leading them, pulling them further down the rabbit hole. Youthful confidence takes the lead, breaking formation for a chance at glory, a textbook response to a non-textbook problem. From the prey's perspective, the plan is working perfectly. The hook is set. The line is being reeled in. And then it vanishes. A ghost disappearing into the rock, leaving only questions and a sudden unnerving silence. The veteran's voice cuts through the silence. A command to pull back. The feeling that they have crossed a line they cannot see. The sky itself turns against them. The trap is sprung, not with a single opponent, but with a legion. The human response? Shock. The machine's response? The immediate execution of a complex, multi-layered plan. The logic of the swarm is simple. Overwhelm. Saturate the defenses. Turn the sky into an inescapable storm of metal. The first response is instinctual. The roar of the 30mm cannon, a tool of absolute dominance. In slow motion, the cold physics of the confrontation. Each round finds its mark, turning a thinking machine into glittering debris. The younger pilot joins the fray, his own cannon tearing holes in the advancing tide. But for every one that falls, two more take its place. The swarm's intelligence is in its numbers. It can afford losses. It probes, it tests, it learns from every failed approach. An evasion born of pure skill. A breathtaking maneuver that cheats physics for a split second. But the swarm is relentless. The veteran uses his ordnance wisely, not just to neutralize, but to control space, creating temporary pockets of safety. They descend into the canyons, using the ancient rock as a shield, a desperate attempt to change the rules of the engagement. But the swarm adapts. It flows like water, pouring into the narrow channels, its smaller size now a tactical advantage. A final defensive measure. Flares bloom in the sky, a brilliant, desperate attempt to blind the swarm's unblinking eyes. Some units are fooled, chasing the heat signatures to their fiery end. A small, temporary victory. But the swarm's true strength is its diversity. Some units guide themselves by other means. The onslaught continues. The first significant impact. Not a critical one, but a message. A statement that the defenses are being breached. The aircraft shudders, warning lights flash. The machine is wounded, its perfect harmony disrupted. A call between partners, a quick status check in the midst of chaos. The bond between the two pilots is their strongest weapon. The veteran stabilizes his damaged craft. He's still in the fight, but the clock is ticking. Their options are narrowing. They move into a back-to-back formation, a classic defensive posture. Each pilot now guards the other's 6. Then, a pause in the attack. The swarm pulls back, encircling them. It is not retreating, it is reassessing. A new unit emerges from the swarm, different, larger. It radiates an energy that the sensors cannot comprehend. The machine's eye struggles to analyze it. The readings are off the charts. This is not a kinetic weapon. It's something else entirely. It takes a position directly above the younger pilot's craft, a silent predator positioning itself for a new kind of strike. The veteran understands in a flash. The realization of the true threat comes a fraction of a second too late. Not an explosion of fire, but a silent, invisible pulse of energy, a wave of pure disruption. A silent pulse, and the modern world vanishes. The pilot is plunged into darkness, a ghost in his own machine. A state of total vulnerability. The aircraft, now just a mass of metal, begins its uncontrolled descent. The swarm senses weakness. 3 units immediately break off, streaking towards the helpless target. No hesitation. The veteran makes a choice. He abandons his defensive position and dives to intercept. He places his machine between his partner and the inevitable, a shield of steel and willpower. The first impact is absorbed by the veteran's aircraft, the sound of a heavy, brutal collision. The second unit is neutralized by a burst of close-range fire, a testament to the pilot's unwavering focus. The third scrapes across the top of the canopy, a near miss that still inflicts significant damage. The veteran's machine is now heavily compromised, trailing smoke. He has bought his partner time, but at a tremendous cost. Inside the darkened cockpit, a frantic effort. The pilot ignores the advanced systems and falls back on pure manual controls. The flicker of a single backup screen, a sign of life, a glimmer of hope in the electronic darkness. He wrestles with the controls, fighting against gravity and damaged hydraulics, slowly pulling the craft from its dive. His vision returns to a sky filled with chaos, his gaze locking onto the sight of his partner, alone against the entire swarm. The swarm's cold logic has shifted. It now focuses all its attention on the wounded, isolated target. Grief turns to fury. The younger pilot is no longer just defending. He is fighting back with a vengeance he didn't know he possessed. He pushes his machine past its limits, the engines screaming in protest, his focus absolute. A full barrage of ordnance is released, not as a defensive measure, but as a statement of pure, unadulterated defiance. From his damaged cockpit, the veteran watches the counterattack. A flicker of pride in the midst of a desperate situation. The swarm reacts instantly, abandoning the wounded wolf and turning its collective fury on the new aggressive threat. They form a solid wall of machines, a charging phalanx intended to overwhelm through sheer force. Instead of evading, he charges directly into them, cannon blazing, turning the engagement into a high-speed game of chicken. The aircraft punches through the wall of drones, a stunning display of raw power and piloting skill. But 2 units manage to latch onto the fuselage, unwelcome passengers in a deadly dance. He uses the canyon itself as a weapon, scraping his aircraft along the rock wall in a brutally effective maneuver. 1 unit is obliterated against the stone. The other holds on, its grip relentless. A move of pure desperation and brilliance, a negative G pushover, forcing the aircraft to fly inverted for a moment. The remaining unit is thrown clear by the violent maneuver, only to be instantly acquired and neutralized by the automated defense systems. The swarm changes tactics again. It's now dropping small, dark objects from above. A new form of area denial. The The pilot is forced into a series of frantic, corkscrewing evasions, dodging the rain of magnetic ordnance. One of the objects falls directly in his path. Unable to evade, he opts to confront it, neutralizing it with a burst of cannon fire. The close-range detonation sends a shockwave and shrapnel across his canopy, fracturing his view of the world. Through the cracked glass, he sees his objective, his partner. He knows he has to create a path no matter the cost. He abandons evasion. He flies a straight, brutal line, using his own machine as a battering ram to clear a path. He arrives battered and smoking beside his partner's craft. A temporary sanctuary has been carved out of the chaos. The younger pilot has re-established a defensive perimeter, but the cost of the rescue is clear on his damaged machine. The veteran's aircraft tries to follow, but the damage is too severe. The engines sputter, unable to provide enough thrust. The swarm senses the final stage of the engagement. It regroups, and from its heart, a final unit emerges. The finisher. Heavily armored, it glows with an internal menacing energy. It has one purpose. The veteran watches its approach, a look of calm acceptance on his face. He knows there is no defense against this. A final unheard transmission is cut short. He makes a decision, known only to him. He uses the last of his energy not to flee, but to alter his craft's trajectory, aiming it away from his partner. The younger pilot fires everything he has left at the armored unit. The rounds spark and deflect harmlessly off its reinforced casing. The finisher is impervious. It continues its final unwavering run, the embodiment of the swarm's will. Through the cracked canopy, the veteran affords himself a final, fleeting glance at the sky. The moment of impact is not loud, but absolute. A flash of intense light. A silent, expanding sphere of energy and vaporized metal. The final, definitive conclusion of the veteran's flight. Stunned silence in the remaining cockpit. The shock of witnessing the final outcome. Its objective complete, the swarm disengages. Its logic is satisfied. It turns as one and vanishes back into the canyons. The sky, once a storm of violent chaos, is now eerily empty. The battle is over. One lone craft hovers in the vast emptiness of the canyon, a solitary survivor. The pilot looks towards the rising column of black smoke, the only marker of his partner's last stand. Slowly, painfully, he turns his battered machine around, leaving the site of the confrontation behind. He flies towards the setting sun, a lone silhouette carrying the weight of the day's events. The canyon falls silent once more, a timeless witness to a story of sacrifice etched into the sky.